G'day team, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to continue on with our periodic function work. So in the last video we looked at the sine function, and now today we're going to look at its sort of counterpart, the cosine function. So the general function for the cosine is pretty much identical to the sine function, except instead of sine we obviously have cosine. So again, A will affect the amplitude, B affects the period, C affects the horizontal translations, and D will affect the vertical translations. And again, our period is equal to 2 pi over B, and our amplitude is equal to modulus A. So what I want you at home to do is go to Desmos and plot the following functions. So the general cosine function and the general sine function. Then I want you to add all sliders and change the C and D sliders to 0 for now. So what are the key differences you notice between the two functions? So we're actually going to jump to Desmos now. So I've gone ahead and set up these two functions with my sliders. So this red function here is the sine function that we were dealing with in the previous video. And we know it's a bit hard to see on here, but we know that the maximum occurs at pi on 2. We get a 0 at 0 and pi. We get a minimum at 3 pi on 2, and then we're back to 0 at pi. Now, cosine has actually been translated pi on 2 units, okay? So we now have a maximum at 0, we're 0 at pi on 2, a minimum at pi, a 0 at 3 pi on 2, and then a maximum again at 2 pi. Okay, so again, these sliders behave the exact same way as they did for our sine function. Okay, the key difference here is where our maximum and our minimum are. All right, so jumping back here, given y equals cosine of x, graph y equals cosine x plus 2 on the same axis for negative 2 pi is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 2 pi. So I've gone ahead and done this one for us, okay? So as you can see, all we've done is that translation of 2 units upwards over the given domain. Super simple to do, all right? Depending on what value you're trying to translate, obviously makes it a bit trickier. If you have a horizontal translation, they are a bit trickier to do. So without technology, sketch the graph y equals 2 cosine of 4x for 0 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 2 pi. So I've gone ahead, found the amplitude and the period. So my amplitude is 2, which is just my A value. And then my period is 2 pi over B, and B is 4 in this case. So that means my period is pi on 2. So I've gone ahead and set up my graph here, okay? So I'm going to change to red. So we know that we're going to start up here for a cosine, okay? And what we actually want a whole wavelength or whole period inside of pi on 2. So we want to end up back over here, all right? So that means we're like this all the way down to negative 2, touching it, coming all the way back up to pi on 2 as our maximum. And this pattern is going to repeat itself for all the way up until 2 pi. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this for us now. Please note that my graphs will not be perfect as I am freehanding this. Alright, so your graph should look something like this. Obviously your graphs at home will be a lot nicer than this, as this was nice and quick. Alright, let's just tidy this one here up. Beautiful. Alright, so you get the idea. Alright, calculate the amplitude, calculate the period, whether we're going up or down, and whether we're going right or left. Alright, so if you're playing along at home, have a crack at the questions in, I reckon it's chapter 7C. At questions 1 odds, questions 2 through 5, and just have a look at question 6 on Desmos. And we'll see you guys next time.